How to judge the current situation in Ukraine. Whether the Russian army has the upper hand or the Ukrainian army has the upper hand. Here are two ways to teach everyone. As long as you see the Russian army saying that it will draw a red line and will throw nuclear bombs, there is a high probability that the Russian army is in a big adverse situation on the battlefield. As long as you see the Russian army chatting about a good relationship with the West, then there is a high probability that the Russian army is in a big favorable situation on the battlefield. If India keeps silent and does not ask about Ukraine at all, then it is the Russian army that has the upper hand. If India strongly demands that both sides sit down and negotiate, then it is the Ukrainian army that has the advantage. If there is no such information above, then it is that Ukraine and Russia are pecking at each other like chickens and wrestling naked, and they have fought to a draw that cannot be clearly distinguished. Nowadays, the Ukraine battlefield has already become a village-level war of attrition. No matter how they fight, it is very difficult to achieve a decisive major victory. It's just that the Russian army stole a squad of the Ukrainian army today, and the Ukrainian army wiped out a platoon of the Russian army tomorrow. Today the Russian army occupied a stronghold of the Ukrainian army, and tomorrow the Ukrainian army took it back. In this kind of war, in addition to consuming weapons, shells and troops, I don't know what else it means. But if they don't fight, they will be at a disadvantage in the subsequent negotiations. Now the Russian army has walked into a dead end and is in a dilemma. If they continue to fight, they can't win if they fight. And if they withdraw, there will be internal strife again. The Russian army has been trying to fan the flames in the peninsula and wants to drag India into the water. But India is as stable as a mountain. Now the Russian army is being roasted on the fire, and the taste is really uncomfortable. They can't beat with conventional weapons. So the Russian army thought of the nuclear bomb again. As soon as the Russian army arrived in Belarus, they discussed holding a nuclear weapons exercise. Here many people may be surprised and shout that the Russian army is going to use a big move. Is the real situation really like this? On the contrary, there is a high probability that the Russian army has encountered big trouble on the battlefield. Again,